Hello everyone. Just getting myself situated here. Welcome. Yeah. Every Wednesday we go live at 10 a.m. From Los Angeles time, so welcome. See, there's a couple people here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you are in the world, but hello. Today I want to do two things. I want to go over like some beginner guitar issues. Bending, chords, stuff that people that are just beginners have a hard time with. And during this whole like mini lesson, feel free to jump in, ask any questions, or just say hi in the chat because it makes it more fun. Also, it always is more fun if you got a little something to drink, a little bubbly. So yeah, good morning everyone. So I'm going to go over a couple issues, I guess, that seem to be a hard time for beginners. Let's go over chords real quick. Bar chords, man, bar chords are so hard. I remember first learning how to do an F chord, and I think that's about as hard as guitar gets. Just like learning how to do an F chord. So with the whole bar chord situation, and sometimes people's hands cramp up. But it's really important to remain relaxed. I'm going to turn just a little bit so you can see my thumb. If I'm playing a bar chord, it's kind of angled at like a, I don't know. I'm not a engineer, but you know, it has a little bit of an angle to it when I'm playing that bar chord. So keep that in mind. It'll help, make the sound pretty. Remember to push down on this. Like this is really important. And when I was first trying to get every note, instead of trying to play like a whole song, I'd just try to play one chord, and then I'd start from the low note and just play each note and make sure they're ringing out. If I ever get to a place where it's like, if it's like choked out, just remember you got to push a little hard, but it's this weird like balance between pushing hard and being relaxed. So that's just something to keep in mind. Thumb position is huge. And before you even start to play, if you feel like you're cramping up, you can do little exercises like this where you just take your thumb, bend it back, take your wrists, stretch it out. Don't overdo it. But, just stretch out your body, just like, if you were to do any other physical activity, you'd probably do a little quick stretch. So that's bar chords. And again, feel free to jump in at all. So what's up, Douglas? What's up from Germany? How's it going? It's going great over here in Los Angeles. Just getting the day started. And yeah, Douglas, feel free to shoot out some questions, and I'm happy to answer them. But we're going to continue kind of on this beginner guitar lesson. So we went over bar chords, and bar chords, yeah, they're hard. Now, this is like where really my revelation came. I remember watching Jimi Hendrix play, and this dude has big hands. I kind of have average size hands, but Jimi had big old hands. And he'd be playing, and I noticed his thumb would be over the neck, and I was like, what is that about? His thumb would be like that. And I started just copying him in that sense. I was like, okay, I don't know why he's doing it, but I'm gonna also do it because he's super amazing, right? He's like the best guitar player to ever do it. And I noticed that when I'm doing my soloing, like, if you go to take a solo, having your thumb over the neck will just try it. I don't know how to put it into words, but just try it. And it allows, especially when you're bending, like if you're trying to bend like this and your thumb isn't over the neck, it's like still in that chord position like this, it's really hard to get leverage, and when you have your thumb over, you're able to just squeeze the guitar and push that note to where it's supposed to be. Also, when you're bending, if you're a beginner, I see a lot of beginners doing this, bending on the lower three strings, like they'll say something like, don't, when you're starting out, just don't bend on the lower three strings. Try to bend on the top three strings. And when you're bending, if you're bending with your ring finger, always have your middle finger right behind it, like the fret before it. So it kind of reinforces everything. It reinforces your energy and your momentum. And you're able to really get up and get to that note. I am going to hop over to Douglas's question real quick. Douglas says, I am practicing intervals at the moment. Are there any pro advice how you would practice them in order to be more musical? Also, I am interested in gospel and how you play so fast. Okay, so let's start with the first one. You're practicing intervals. For me, the intervals that really sound fantastic when soloing are sixths. I don't really have like a method for practicing intervals. What I like to do a lot of the times is I'll take, like, I'm never going like, to me that sounds like robotic, it kind of sounds square. Maybe that'll help you, but for me, doing everything across, like this way and then this way. So, I found that way more useful than doing it in one position, because oftentimes I'll be outlining a chord, and that's my first step, and I know that we're kind of getting away from this beginner guitar lesson, so I'm going to try to answer your questions, but we'll get back to the beginner guitar lesson shortly too. Douglas, you asked, how do you come up with ideas, musical motifs? Well, the best way to come up with them is to steal them or plagiarize them. I say that lightheartedly. Often, like, I like to learn other people's solos. If you hear something that you like, try to copy it. And that's the best way to come up with ideas, because a lot of stuff that you hear isn't original per se. We're kind of just standing on the shoulders of giants and borrowing what we've heard before. And then the final step to this whole process, is you borrow what you heard and you kind of reinvent it and make it your own. So there is that. So find a solo, find maybe just a little phrase that you like and try to learn it. And then try to learn it in like a song setting. Try to play it over a song, you're jamming to Spotify or whatever, YouTube, and then play it in another song so you could kind of learn it in different keys. Oftentimes my approach isn't to like play this and then play that and then play this in different keys. I'm trying to make it musical, so I'll play like a lick in like a Doobie Brothers song, and I'll try to play a lick in like an Eagles song or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, make it musical. And here we go, we got some more questions. If you're just joining me, welcome. I was going over some beginner issues that I see a lot of students of mine have, mainly chords, bending, that kind of thing, and I gave you some little tidbits in the first couple minutes of this lesson. So if you want to check that out, go back. You can rewatch this. And we had Arthur Braxton ask, what is my approach to reharmonization? My approach, so I have a video on it, and I'll be coming out with more, so you can kind of check my video feed. I think the last week I did a video on reharm. I guess it's to know the rules, and then you can bend them a bit. But first you have to know the rules, and the rules are, major scales. How do you make, like, what are the intervals in a major scale? I have a video on that. You can find it. You're gonna have to find, and then you're just gonna like learn the real basics. Like, I know my if I have my major scale, so I know my first chord is major, I know my first chord is minor, I know my second chord is minor, and so on. If this is confusing you, go back. I have videos on this. So first you have to know what chords are in a scale, and then you can kind of start to add other chords, essentially. And the other chords are usually just a dominant chord. It's just some type of dominant chord leading into the chords that are already in the scale. So if I already have, these, if those are the chords in my scale, well, I might, add just a dominant chord before going into a chord. So what if I did this? Right, so I have, but I could add a dominant chord going before this chord, essentially. And that's kind of how I'm thinking of reharmonization in like a very, very basic sense. Always have the melody. It's another big one. Have the melody note in the top, like on the top string. So whatever you're playing, like that's what the listener is going to hear. So if I'm playing, like the listener is going to hear, that's what that's how I'm thinking of it. There's like more to come. I'm definitely going to be doing more master classes on it and explaining it in more in depth, because that's really like an hour-long video, but that's my 2-minute synopsis. Douglas says, how can I support your channel? Can you make a Patreon page? You deserve it so much. Douglas, appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate the support. What you could do is, I have a free masterclass. It's in the links. If you want to just go sign up for that, that's a great way to support my channel. And I know it's free, but yeah, it just helps, kind of like we're starting a community here. I'm a guitar player, but producer, and I think I want you guys to know this info and not learn it from like a teacher. Like I teach, but I also play with all these artists and do production, and so the information you're gonna get it's not from somebody that's writing on a chalkboard. I'm there with you. I'm in the trenches, working the guitar and doing sessions and this and that. So that's the kind of info I want to give you. And if you want to just sign up for the free masterclass, that helps. Calwin says, can you show us a nice double stop up and down the neck? I could. Let me think. Oftentimes what I'm doing is a reaction. Like, so Calwin says, can I do like can I do some double stops up and down the neck? And oftentimes, like, what I'm doing isn't like I'm asserting my language. It's like, hey, I'll hear a song, or like the drummer will start something, and then I will react to it. So I don't know if I can come up with something right off the bat, because oftentimes it's just a reaction. And what I will play will be more like a lick rather than like musical. But up and down the neck too. I mean, here's a super cliche one. That's a super cliche one. Like in Backstabber, the OJ song, they do that. From the key of E, the top two strings. That's a real nice R&B lick. Arthur Braxton, no problem. I am here to help. Bruno Rodriguez asks, Alec, do you have some idea when you're going to do some kind of masterclass about R&B licks? I haven't. That was not on the docket, but I could definitely do that. That would be pretty cool. I would say, before I would even launch into that masterclass, there's some people you should check out. Stax Records, Motown Records. If you haven't heard of like Otis Redding, Curtis Mayfield, there are some just great guitar, Earth, Wind and Fire. If you haven't heard of these people, because everything I'm going to be doing is like borrowed from a lot of this old school stuff, and then we can reinterpret it and do, you know, like we could use those licks and play an Usher song, or we could use those licks and do this and that. But go back and listen to some old records, and then when I do a masterclass, because it will be coming, a lot of this stuff will make more sense. And if you're already an R&B fan, you're ahead of the curve. Like if you like the music rather like as well as the guitar playing. And Douglas says, nice, man. Thank you for communicating with us. Absolutely. This is such a cool platform. It's a way that I can communicate with people in Germany and all across the world. It's really, really, really cool. So thanks for being a part of Soulful Guitar Lessons and being a part of this channel. Feel free to throw out any other questions. I am here to answer them. And yeah, while I wait. Excuse me. Thanks for sharing the gospel licks in the past. It has really helped me out. No problem. I'm glad it was helpful. Remember, there's like a lot more to gospel than licks. So I'll be coming out with some more master classes on that as well. Again, this isn't like a gospel channel, though. I don't want to lean heavily into this. This is about playing soulfully, so there are many ways you can do that, right? There's John Mayer plays extremely soulfully, right? Jimi Hendrix plays soulfully. Wes Montgomery plays extremely soulfully, and then there's gospel music, there's R&B, there is, you know, there are Doobie Brothers, Bee Gees, all that stuff is soulful. So yeah, I just want to teach everyone how to play what they're hearing in their head and what's coming out of their heart. And you know, the genre, I'm less concerned about the genre and more concerned about actually great music and great guitar playing, you know. Douglas asked, will you release more MWH tracks? Man, I was just thinking about that. I really want to do that. Yeah, we released those 2 years ago, so thank you for watching it. Thank you for being a fan. If you don't know what MWH is, it was my trio here. Drummer Brandon Combs, who is Leon Bridges' drummer. Absolutely one of the coldest drummers to ever do it. I love his feel. And then my buddy, Chris Thigpen, we've done a million things together. We just did Meghan Trainor together. And he was playing bass. And then I have my buddy doing, Eddie Ponce, he was doing the mixing. And Joseph Yoon, he was doing the videography. Anyways, we did a trio thing. It was like 4 songs. Super fun during COVID. Had not a ton of things to do at the moment, so and yeah, man, I was just thinking like, I gotta get back on that. A lot of people are busy now on the road, so I'm gonna try to find maybe some time, hopefully this winter, to get a crew together, and maybe I could, you know, figure out a way to make it make sense, because it is expensive too. You know, you gotta pay everyone and this and that. But yeah, thank you for being a fan, for watching. That really it makes me happy. So I'm glad somebody out there is watching it. Douglas says you watch it every week. You love the cover of Feel Like Making Love. Please do a lesson. Okay? All right. I got that in the back of my mind. Yeah. Feel free to keep asking me some questions. Feel free to throw out whatever questions you got. Calwin says, can you suggest a good interface for recording? Yes, get the Apollo, the Universal Audio Apollo. That is the one you need. That's all I got. One sentence. I'm gonna do a little more beginner guitar advice. If you're still watching and if you are a beginner, yeah, so we went over chords, we went over bending, and then scales. Scales are scales are one of those things that people kind of get afraid of, and yeah, instead of I don't know why I just said it like that. Instead of playing scales on all six strings, you know, maybe try one string. I like one string because it reminds me of piano. Piano, you kind of just move in this way and that way, and you don't have to worry about the up and down motion. It'll also help your ear identify the intervals rather than rely on like memorizing something. So if you are a beginner, try playing scales on one string all the way across. Try finding notes on all six strings too. So if I'm like, oh, I got, you know, I have my scale, A minor pentatonic. Try finding all the A's, you know. Try finding all the A's on the neck, and try finding all, you know, like kind of go through it in a different way than you would normally. Like most guitar teachers say, oh, you got to practice this scale, you got to practice this scale. Yes and no, like you should know that, but also learn your scales this way, and like learn the major scales. You know, learn your minor scales. Learn weird scales like melodic minor. Go through them on one string. I don't know. I really, really like the way that sounds. Especially a little bit of overdrive. You can kind of slide and bend your way up and down the neck, and it sounds like a singer. It sounds so, so good. It's not really a replacement for all the scales, but and that brings me to my next point. If you are a beginner, I would highly recommend choosing one or two guitar solos that you enjoy. A very, very great beginner guitar solo is Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's kind of simple, like there's nothing too crazy, but just learn what's going on there. Like learn their phrasing, figure out how they're doing it, and it's very, very melodic, very soulful, but nothing technically hard. My first solo that I learned, I don't know why I thought it was a good idea, Stairway to Heaven. I didn't know anything about scales. I didn't know anything about like key signatures. Basically, all I did was I looked up some tabs and I learned it. So I'd recommend, if you are just a beginner, to just dive in and learn a solo. It can be hard, it can be easy. But yeah, the one I suggested, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, is in the key of A major. Californication, try that one if you are a beginner. It's simple and soulful, and you could sing it, and it's melodic. Yeah, so, so good. Mine was Stairway to Heaven. It was hard. It was really hard, but all the stuff is paid off. You know, I still use some of those licks and like those ideas. It's funny, like you'll learn a solo and then like years later, and it's like buried in your subconscious. Calvin says, would you suggest changing guitars for different styles or just making one guitar do it all? That's a great question. Change guitar for different styles. Absolutely. If I was to play a country song, I'd have a Telecaster or a Les Paul, depending if it was like a country rock song. Probably have both. If I was to cover a Daft Punk song or, you know, play Good Times by Nile Rodgers, I would have a Strat. If I was to do Jimi Hendrix stuff, I'd have a Strat. If I was to play AC/DC, I'd have a Les Paul, something with humbuckers. And if you're a beginner and you don't know what humbuckers are, so if you look at these pickups, these are called single coil pickups. There's like one of them, and this is called a humbucker. Basically, it's just like two of these glued together. The humbucker gives it like a AC/DC Led Zeppelin sound, like a rock and roll song. And it's definitely important to change guitars for different sound. Now that's if like you're really trying to be a pro, which is on this channel, like, that's the goal, is to get everyone at a pro level. And so, yeah, knowing those distinctions and knowing those, like, the sound differences is really, really important. And yeah, I would, that's a great question. That's a great question. I could do a whole masterclass just on that topic alone. For R&B or like gospel music, yeah, you can use whatever. You can use a Strat, Tele, or Les Paul. Doesn't really matter. Strat always gets the job done. But that's like more free. When you're getting into like different genres like country or rock, or then that's when things get more specific, especially if you're like, I want to sound like this person, like Brett Mason, use a Telecaster. But he has like a crazy weird Telecaster, but he uses a Telecaster. Unlabeled T says, what about amps? Amps, I mean, so there's like basically 3 kinds of amps and every other style of amp. This is a good like beginner question. It's basically 3 style of amps, and every other amp is like a knockoff or an iteration of one of these 3. It's a Fender, a Vox, or a Marshall. That's about it. Like a Fender Twin. It kind of has this clean sound. Think, that's like what a lot of like Stevie Ray Vaughan would use. He would use like a couple Fender amps and get that like kind of meaty, bluesy sound. Now, if we go over to Vox, that's like Brian May and Queen. That's a lot more like the Beatles or that jangly kind of sound. And the Marshall is more heavy. That's like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Jimi Hendrix, that kind of thing, like more heavy rock. And every other boutique amp you see, like, I don't care. There's a million iterations now. They're probably a knockoff of one of those 3. And that's, so knowing which amp does what, like I would have, if I was playing R&B, I would have like a Fender. If I was playing country, I would have a Fender. If I was playing like rock or hip hop, like hip hop where it's like live, so you have to have like distorted lead tones, I have a Marshall. For stuff that's more like Brit rock, I would have a Vox, that kind of thing. So Calvin says, no Roland jazz chorus. No, absolutely not. And I'm laughing because I think that's what they have at my church, is a Roland jazz chorus, and it's terrible. It sounds bad. There's no tubes. That's the thing. Like, tubes are basically little like light bulbs that you see in the back of an amp, and if you don't have those, your tone is going to suffer. That's just how it is. And yeah, but yeah, no Roland jazz chorus, if you can help it. I'm gonna have a little sip because I've been talking for a bit. Thanks for coming on and chatting with me, guys. This is pretty cool. Yeah, feel free to keep the questions coming. I'm kind of here for it all. Calvin says, just kidding. I love tubes, right? Douglas says, what projects are coming in the near future? So related to this channel, what's up, everybody? I noticed there's some more people attending. So what projects are coming in the near future? So I have lots of stuff I am coming out with. I have a masterclass that is free that's coming out. And it's not just coming out, it's out. I have a free masterclass. You can just sign up. It's on this page. And yeah, just go check out, see what it's all about. That is a big, moving forward to, the goal is to take beginner, intermediate guitar players and make them like professional grade guitar players, just killers out there, assassins. So this masterclass is going to help you do that. And yeah, that's like in my YouTube kind of world. In guitar playing, I've been doing a bunch of like session work. And so we'll see what ends up coming out, because I can't say until it's actually released. because there's a lot of stuff I play on and stuff that sits in a vault until it doesn't one day, maybe 3 years down the line. So we'll see. There's a lot of guitar playing and production I've done. I have a project where it's just me. It's called Morris the Maverick, and I write and produce and do everything for that. So yeah, Morris, Morris, Morris the Maverick. So I release songs every month under that name. I have one song out, but more songs are coming. And then yeah, I have a lot of production stuff that I've been doing where I produce artists. I am doing an artist right now. Her name is Tamara. So we just released a track, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and it's on Spotify. Everything's on Spotify. And yeah, Tamara is like country. It is like country, and I love that. My wife, she grew up kind of in like a country area, and I've been heavily exposed to country. Some of the greatest guitar playing and lyrics on the planet. So yeah, you can check out that project as well. And yeah, that about wraps it up. Yeah, a lot of sessions, songwriting, and that kind of thing. So you can check out some stuff on Spotify under my name, or Morris the Maverick, under Tamara. And yeah, for YouTube, yeah, mainly like if you just want to sign up for the masterclass. I know I'm kind of sound like beating a dead horse, but that's what's coming up. And yeah, there's gonna be, I'm filming so much more information and like content that it's like I know it's gonna be so useful for everyone. It's like I have a whole filming day next week doing a master class, and yeah, so just be on the lookout, and until then, just sign up for the one that's already out, the master class that's already out, and then yeah, just kind of tune in. I release videos every Tuesday that are like pre-recorded, and every Wednesday at like 10 a.m. I do a live stream, and you can kind of come on and say what's up. Cedric, what's up, man? An LA dude. What's cracking, man? Douglas says your feature with BTS and Anderson.Paak was dope. Thanks, man. That was a fun day. One day I'll have to do a BTS of BTS, I guess. That was a really fun day, or fun, session. Really cool to be a part of. Millard says valuable information. Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks, Millard. Thanks, man, for being a part of the community. Unlabeled T says, is it on Spotify? Yep, all my projects are on Spotify. Morris the Maverick, Tamara, stuff I produce. Yeah, it's all on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever. Calswin says, am I in the LA area? Yep, I'm in the LA area. If you're looking for a good guitar repair shop, go to Amp Hole in North Hollywood. Amp Hole in North Hollywood is the way to go. It's like Burbank area. It's about a 3-week turnaround time. You can pay a premium, and I think it's like a 30% more, and he'll turn it around very quick. But that's where I go. I actually have back here I have a 68 Super Reverb, a Fender, and I just plugged it in for the first time a couple days ago after like it's been sitting in storage for years, and so I gotta go take my guitar, and that's where I'm gonna take it. Or sorry, I gotta go take my amp there, and that's where I'm gonna take it, is the Amp Hole in Burbank. Cedric, you just signed up? Let's go. All right, thanks, man. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're gonna find a lot of useful stuff in there. Like most of the lessons I teach, like I could just send them this video, and it would clear up a majority of like their like questions. So yeah, a lot of good free information there. So yeah, you guys have any other questions? I am here to help. I'm kind of hanging. I'm gonna go a little off topic. I'm hanging with some of my cousins today, and we're doing the Hot Ones challenge. They got the pack, those 10 spicy whatever sauces, and we're gonna go do it in like an hour. And I'm kind of scared. I gotta go pick up some like whole milk and whatever Coca-Cola, because yeah, I think it's gonna be intense. I see the people on the show try to do the Hot Ones challenge. It looks very hard. So I'm looking forward to trying. I think I'm gonna get them all. So we'll see. we'll see how I do. I'll let you know next week. Salt neutralizes the heat. All right. I mean, I see people on there and they're struggling. You know who did well though is like John Mayer. He did all of them, and I was like, okay, this guy can handle his heat, and I can too usually. Like if it's like Mexican, Indian food, I usually go for the spiciest. But I've had to sign waivers too before where I'm like, okay, I don't want, I like spicy food, gonna do it. So we'll see. Might have to film it. Cedric says, what's hot in is hot out. Eat some ice cream afterwards. That's actually a great call. Get some ice cream at the store. My guitars have been so out of tune lately because of the crazy weather, and it's just unusually cold. Very strange. Crazy weather in LA. Hope everyone's staying safe if you're in California. Okay. Yeah. Keep coming with the questions. The chat. It's so much more fun when everybody's kind of asking questions, shooting the shit, in the chat room. So, if you are a beginner though, that's where this whole thing was starting. It's a Q&A, but this live stream is also a beginner lesson. I would say like learn songs that are like when you're learning a song, I guess here's a better way to say it. Like try to play it slow and correct rather than like the normal tempo or like the normal speed and make all these errors. So if I'm trying to like learn a song, I'm going to slow it way down, maybe like half. And I'm going to try to practice along to a metronome. A metronome, if you don't know what it is, because this is kind of a beginner class, is like it's you can download one for free on your phone. Just go to the App Store and type in metronome, and it basically will be a click that'll act like a drummer. It'll keep you on time. And I would start it at 80. So 80 is probably something like that. I'm kind of throwing that out of the air. And then practice your chords, so like you would just practice click, 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 and make sure all your chords are clean, they're nice, and that you're staying on rhythm. And as you start to get more comfortable, you can increase that speed, but you could start at 80 and bump it up to maybe like 120 once you're feeling comfortable, and depending on the song. But yeah, try that, and it like slowing everything down will make your the end result so much more rewarding. You won't have all those like rotten notes. Brothers asked, did you finish some kind of musical school academy? Absolutely not. No, everything I did, at some point I'll have to dive deep into kind of my background, but it's like everything I've done is self-taught or with some teachers. I grew up playing a lot of rock and jazz, blues, classic rock, that kind of thing. College, I have 2 degrees in mathematics and political science, but also at college is where I met a bass player, Richard Davis. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He was in Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch. He's played for Bruce Springsteen, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, and he taught me a lot. And we never sat down and talked scales. We never sat down and did that, but he taught me some big life lessons. Yeah, he was a teacher, a professor at UW-Madison, and he changed a lot of things for me. He was old school. He was a dude, grew up in the 30s, black guy. And it's a predominantly white school, and we don't have to get into all that, but you know the ramifications of what I'm saying. And he instilled a lot of wisdom, and like I just learned so much from him, mainly about like life, because so much of music is a reflection of life. It's yeah, it was crazy. And then yeah, Chicago. Moved to Chicago afterwards, and started playing, and wasn't very good. And well, I guess, you know, over time got better and better, and now here we are. But never went to an academy for it. A lot of my friends went to Berkeley though, so I'm not discounting it in any way. It just wasn't my path. Laz28 says, for learning licks, what would you say the best method is? Focusing, slow, and accurate. I'm assuming from what you're saying about learning songs. So like learning licks. Here's how I learn licks. Okay, or like learn little pieces of solos. So if you want to learn a lick, break it down. It needs to be simple. Like, I'm just gonna throw out something. Say this is the lick. It's like 3 notes. Say, like, it's just an easy example. Da-da-da, right? Cool. That's the lick. So now I want you to be able to play that in other songs, you know, or like say that was like, say that was in a similar song, then I want to be playing it up here, right? I want to know it in a couple different positions, and then I'd want to know it in different keys, that kind of thing. And I would try to learn it in other songs. So, you know, find another song that's a similar like speed, and try to like take that lick and then put it in that song. Now the cool thing about little licks is I can like mutate them. So if this is the lick, I can take that rhythm and make a whole, you know, I can make a musical phrase by moving, like I have those 3 notes, like da-na-na, and then I can move it somewhere else, like in the scale or pentatonic, whatever shape. And all of a sudden it sounds like something, you know, it sounds like a riff, even though I just started with like a little lick. And so that's a really good like process of taking a lick, like a very, very simple lick, and moving it around, and then you're making it your own. You're making it musical is what you're doing. You're making it an idea rather than just like, oh, I'm going to take this like guitar thing and I'm just going to play it here, and it's not really, you know, me, it's just somebody else, and I'm just trying to copy and paste stuff. And that's good, especially for beginners and intermediates. But if you really want to like grasp this concept early, just take 2 or 3 note licks, 4 notes maybe, and move them up and down the scales. And that's really what I like to do. And that's called like motifs, M-O-T-I-F, motif. So try doing that, and I think it's gonna open a lot of doors, you know, even like up here. You know, you can start making some riffs very, very quickly. Cedric says, what is your recommendation on a beginner guitar? I would recommend a Fender Squier. Don't pay more than $150, $200. So yeah, go to Guitar Center, grab one. That's what I recommend. Sherry, howdy, yeehaw. Miller Johnson asks, am I familiar with Vlasopool? I don't know what that word is. So no, put me on. I have no idea. Is it a medicine? Sounds like a, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Well, let me know in the comments what it is. And people that are just joining, feel free to jump in, ask questions. This is kind of a Q&A. Yeah, a lot of info I have to give, and so I don't want to hold on to it forever. Laz28, cool, thanks. Just learned a new concept to study motifs. Absolutely. Happy to help. And I'm going to be releasing a lot more on that topic, because It's so important. I think a lot of years was wasted. A lot of years were wasted by me not implementing that. And this is like me playing for 20 years now. I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have done that sooner. Just take little tiny bits and bites of other people's ideas and start, you know, moving it around the scale. Yeah. So. I've had this guitar for 20 years. Isn't that crazy? An old wino. Millard just told me what a Vlasipool is. All right, I'm gonna look that up. An old wino tuned straight across for honky tonk. All right, cool. I gotta look that up. Cal's Win. Do I have a favorite pedal board? Yeah, it's in my dreams. I can never see. That's the thing about guitar players. We always like we have our thing right, and we're like, oh no, I'm gonna take this pedal board out. I'm gonna build a new one, and that's how every freaking that's how I am. That's how most guitar players are. But yeah, all my pedal board stuff it's pretty simple. It's like, you know, some overdrives, wah. I guess my chain goes, you know, compression, wah, volume, a couple overdrives, some modulations. So it's like a tremolo and a chorus and that kind of thing, and then into some delays and reverbs. It's pretty simple, and of course I want more. That's just the nature of guitar playing. But yeah. When I'm sitting, I just like to write riffs too, you know. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Last 28 said, did I play on the Jonathan McReynolds and Molly music album? Yep, I did. That was nominated for a Grammy. Deserve a Grammy. Well, don't we all? Yeah, it's a whole political thing. It didn't win a Grammy. It was Grammy nominated, but a lot of times, even if somebody say it did win, say something won a Grammy, it's oftentimes that mainly the artist, maybe the producer, will get a Grammy. It's not very often that musicians on it will get it as well. They'll usually get like a certificate. You know, rather than like the statue. So. Douglas, man, I appreciate your kind words. I would like to grab a beer with you. If I could, I would. You live in Germany, right? But appreciate that. Cheers. Cheers to you. Gang, well, I'm kind of just noodling around here. Last 28. Do I have a favorite genre to play? I know I love what you do in the gospel and the soul, mainly because you're a gospel guitarist as well. My favorite genre to play, I just love good music. So like I will love playing like Alan Jackson's song, a country song. I love playing Anita Baker. I like a lot of that old time. Honestly, like, so now that I'm talking, I love a lot of old time soul. So it'd be Shaka Khan or Anita Baker or like Smokey Robinson, stuff like that. Stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Prince, Michael Jackson, that kind of thing. I really, really like that. Super fun. I also love rock. Like, rock is such a fun thing to play as a guitar player. I wish I did more of it, but yeah, I played with Gavin DeGraw last month, which is like like country rock, I'd say, like pop country rock. That was so fun. You know, you just take a Les Paul, you sling it down to here, you know, it's like down to your kneecaps, and you just rock out. And yeah, that was super fun. So yeah, old time soul and some rock. Those are my favorite. I love country. I love gospel. I love it all. And this channel, we don't want to like limit ourselves, because I'm kind of gonna give you all the tools to navigate all those terrains. What are the politics with becoming a late show MD? I'd love to see you on your own late night show. Well, thank you. I think this is about as good as we're gonna get for now. This is my early morning show, so welcome. Yeah, man, the politics. You know, it's just like anything. You gotta know the right people. You gotta be good enough. You gotta get along with everyone. This and that. Also, a lot of times, like those cats that hold those chairs, they've been doing it 20, 25, 30 years. Because the Kush gig, it's an amazing gig. You know, you get a lot of perks. So there's not a lot of turnover, is what I'm trying to say. And so, yeah, you kind of just got to be right place, right time. Douglas, come to Munich. Yeah, cheers. So as a reminder for everyone, I do this every Wednesday. I come on at 10 a.m., do a little lesson, do a Q&A, 10 a.m. LA time. So 10 a.m. California time, Pacific. So yeah, come back every Wednesday. I think in the next, I got a jet in the next 5 minutes or so, but yeah, this is super fun. I like to kind of get to know everyone. I got Douglas from Munich. We got a couple cats from LA. I know my buddy Cedric was on here. If you're just kind of joining it and you want to know how to support the channel, if you're just joining this chat, I have a free masterclass out. It's like no strings attached. Just kind of go sign up. It's in the description. So if you want to do that, you want to learn more about like playing soulfully, and I kind of, you know, I go over stuff a little more in detail. You can sign up for that. But yeah, and when I'm looking over here, I have another computer screen here, and it has all the chat info. So I'm looking over there as well. Miller Johnson, he said, I'm glad you're here, man. Just playing through the pain at age 67. That's respect. Respect, man. It's never too old to learn, but I know it's not as easy as when you were younger. I got a couple cats that I teach that are your age, a little older, a little younger. Yeah, the fingers don't move like they used to, right? But it's still, it's not always about the big stage. I really, so my grandpa, he used to play piano before World War II, and then everybody had to go to war. So there's no more of that. But back in the day, I don't know, between the 30s and 60s, a lot of, since there wasn't a lot of television, not a lot of people could afford a TV in their house until they could. Now you can get a TV for next to nothing. But back in the day, if you're lucky enough to have a home or whatever, like, people would oftentimes have instruments. They'd have like an accordion or a piano or this and that. That's how they kept themselves occupied. And it wasn't always about being a professional, right? Like, that wasn't their goal. It was just to have fun and like have some camaraderie and hang out with people and like your family and have some drinks and sing along. And I don't think we should forget that, because I think music can be taken so seriously. Everybody's so serious about it. I gotta get my scales right. I gotta get this and that. But that's why they call it playing the guitar. That's why they call it playing the guitar. They don't call it working the guitar. It's fun. We're playing around. It's supposed to be a good time. So always keep that in the back of your mind. Calvin said, I'm in the age too. He's up at 67, but if Albert Lee can do it, so can you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I hope I'm still doing this thing when I am your guys' age. So that's super, super cool. I really, really do. So. Douglas says, what's my favorite NBA team? I don't watch a lot of basketball. I love football. And my team is the Minnesota Vikings. God, we just lost. We were good on paper this year and bad in practice. So, yeah. We lost to the Giants this last week, and super disappointing, but that's how it is. I like to just kind of jam up. So you're kind of seeing me in my little noodling element. I'm going to log off here. We've been together about an hour here, so thank you so much for tuning in. I'm here every Wednesday, 10 a.m. I'm here every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Come back, say hi. We'll talk. We'll shoot the shit. We'll talk about guitar, some life. We'll have a good time. Here to answer any questions. If you haven't signed up for the masterclass, it's in the description. It's just a free masterclass. You can help support the channel. And I will be seeing more of you guys. Stay encouraged, stay safe. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.